Hey y'all, I'm back with another cephalid breakfast video. And in this video, I'm running the exact same list I did last time, featuring a single prismatic ending in the main deck and 2 swords to plowshares, as opposed to 3 swords and 1 prismatic ending. The sideboard is totally the same, still Serenity. So the way that I operate when I'm testing my deck is I do really like to do a few leagues in a row with the exact same list, and this one has gotten me back-to-back 4-1s, so it's been feeling pretty good. However, I haven't really had any situation where I think I've had prismatic ending in game 1. And that's the thing, is you really have to play quite a lot of matches for one of cards like that to really make themselves felt, provided it's not something that you tutor for, or obviously something like Thassa's Oracle is a one of, but that's the whole premise of the deck. You know, you're going to find your Thassa's Oracle if you're winning games. And it just takes a lot of time to really feel confident in those micro decisions. And I play a lot of Magic. You know, I would say on average, about a league a day. Some days I don't really have time to play. A couple days a week, like the weekends, maybe I can get 2 leagues in. So I play a good bit, and that definitely is a luxurious way to properly test. And so I'm going to show off a little bit of that patience in my deck testing with running back this list. It feels good, you know, whether it's 3 swords or 2 in an ending or something. It just feels quite nice to be on this 4 Tamiyo list. I am very rarely regretful of drawing a Tamiyo at any phase in the game. And yeah, it's just been fun. So hopefully this league will go well, and let's see how it goes. All right, I'm on the play in the first match. I do not recognize my opponent. Can't keep a no-lander. And this looks good. Turn 2. Probably just put back the redundant nomads. Though maybe just swords. So if they remove nomads, maybe this is just going to be a combo game. I think I like that. And if they have nothing, I'll just win turn 2. So next turn, if they do have removal, they have to fire it off on nomads, but I have the backup nomads. Ponder, okay. So Volcanic Ponder really, to me, could be either Delver or Show and Tell. They didn't shuffle, which means they feel confident going into a turn where they're tapped out that they can still win, or not lose at least. Drawing the other land is nice because that means next turn I can cephalid without having to fear about days. However, I would hate for them to say days 1 nomads, bolt the other, and then kind of leave me with nothing. And if it's show and tell, I don't really like the thought of them casting show and tell next turn. If they put in something like Emrakul, that'd be totally fine, but if they put in Atraxa, I bet they find the Force. That being said, I think the most important thing to play around is days. So I'm going to attack for 1, and then I'm going to play nomads right now. And then, okay, they didn't daze, so now I will surveil here. And the reason why I'm doing it in this order is that gives me a little bit more information about what I want to surveil, and I was going to play in the daze no matter what. So a subtle sequencing thing there, but could be worthwhile. I don't think I'm going to need this other Tundra. Let's see what they do. Prismatic Vista. Okay. So this is actually going to be some sort of control deck. Hopefully this isn't a rest in peace. Okay, 1 prismatic ending. All right. That's fine. And a Tamiyo. Okay. I'm sure they have Force. Nadu. I think I like going Brainstorm into Cephalid, see if I find my own Force or Daze. But I'll jam it no matter what, knowing that I have Nadu next turn. Okay. Not outstanding. So I kind of want to keep the other nomads around. I almost wish I didn't have to fetch, but I'm going to do it like this. This has to get a green source. I'll get trop. And then maybe this eats a force. Do I go for it? If I go for it, next turn I Memories Journey. And then I'm unable to cast Thassa's Oracle. And that's if they still have the force, that is. They could just be dead right now. So this is a big moment, but I feel like against a 5-card hand and a control deck, and especially knowing that I have game next turn, I feel like going for it here is a little irresponsible. They could have Force of Negation. Though, if they had Force of Will, I do think it was correct to go after Cephalid. Anyway, I made my decision. And I'm a pretty cautious player overall. I find that as... Okay, so here's the swords. Yeah, that's fine. I find that as a breakfast player, I'm really not tempted to go for it in bad circumstances, but maybe they're when they're tapped out. You know, it had to be specifically a force. But this just feels like a deck that plays multiple forces. If they don't have a force now, I'm going to feel good. If they do, and if they brainstormed into it, I'm going to feel punished. Days was an incredible draw. Probably the best draw short of Cavern. So, feeling lucky there. All right, in there. I'll always yield to Nomad ability. Definitely want to save yourself some clicks. Another Days is nice. Can we keep the party going with a land? No land. So they have this Tamiyo. Tamiyo's going to get to pick up a swords, and they are presumably brainstorm locked. Now, if Tamiyo picks up the swords, I should probably be able to punish that and kill Tamiyo. Swords on Nadu. I'll draw my cards in response. Brainstorm's nice. Another land. Another land. Well, I wish I hit some of those last turn. I think I need to brainstorm here. I'll get the basic island. Or I guess I'll get Tundra. Yeah, basic island already milled. I would like to try to find Force of Will, but I will double Days if I have to. Or I just draw another Nadu. Put back Thassa's Oracle. And I guess Plow. And yeah, I should double Days because I think how I lose this game is this Tamiyo ticks up. And I don't want them to be able to do that. So unless they top decked Force of Will, this should work. Now, if they top decked a land, they can minus. All right, cool. Well, I was lucky to draw that Days, though it didn't really come in handy. And even if this Tamiyo ticks up, even if they counter the Days and are able to remove Nadu successfully here, I do think I'm very favored. It's just that by letting this Nadu live and protecting it, it basically ensures this Tamiyo won't get to ultimate. And so I was just trying to slam the door shut there. Well, against the Tamiyo deck, I do want maximum answers to it. And Cavern, probably want Flusterstorm. And I'll likely leave in one force to draw two. And I'll leave in the plains. This could be something like a back to basics deck. Yeah, I'll try this. Well, if you've never seen this weird glitch, sometimes cards get displayed really big and you just have to X out into something else. I'll show you my OBS here for a second. That's how I record. And then I go back to the window and it's gone. Weird Magic Online glitch. All right, well, I have my combo. I have lands. I have a brainstorm. Definite keep. All right, the turn one Tammy. Pretty good. I'll play the archive. That allows me to swords if I find it, or nomads. Yeah, I like a fetch land with this brainstorm. Can probably put the hedge maze back in my deck. Wow, not even going to attacks. Well, my opponent definitely misplayed that. Because you should go to combat, you should make your clue. It's free to do. And then brainstorm. Okay, well, my hand is pretty solid here. I think what I'm going to do is brainstorm before making a land drop. Try to convince them to pyroblast it. No go. Ending is nice. I probably should just fetch a plains and ending. And I have plenty of lands, so I'm just going to put back 2 lands. And if this resolves, that means without making that clue, this was just a 1-for-1 exchange. Sweet. I feel very favored here. Saga is also an outstanding card against control decks. Ugh, Dread Return. Seeing as I have drawn Dread Return, I like the idea of leading on Cephalid here. Because in this situation, 5 cards in hand, like, there's no way this resolves. Or, there's no way it survives. There we go. And I still feel like I have to play around like a back to basics or something like that. I at least need to hold off on cracking this fetch land. Otherwise, it would be nice to play like Basic Island Tamiyo. No play. So I'll probably go Saga Tamiyo. Ugh, Hedge Maze. Well, I'm drawing pretty poorly here. Maybe I'll play the Hedge Maze, just get that out of the way. This also means I can get a basic. I don't need another land. And I'll play the Tamiyo. This could get another Pyroblast out of hand. Maybe a Force. Okay, it's in there. Maybe it gets the swords out of hand. Dress down on end step. I'm choosing to believe this is just a cycle, and that this deck, like, I don't think Dreadnought usually has red mana in it, so I think this is just some interactive card that they run, and they might feel the need to either Swords the Tamiyo without having to worry about it flipping, because it can't flip under a dress down, or desperately cantrip into something. Yep, that's fine. The whole purpose of this Tamiyo was to bait out some interaction. Oh my god, drawing so bad. I think I will play the Nomads out. If they play something like Wrath of the Skies, they'll have a better hit off of it, unfortunately. But again, I want them to have to worry about either dealing with this, choosing to deal with constructs. They could just have another dress down. But I will probably accumulate cards in hand while ticking up the Saga, making constructs. Surgical, oh man, good for them. Yeah, that's good. They're gonna see how horrible my hand is. All right. That was a pretty good exchange for them. I think I will not go to combat. They could have like Snapcaster Mage or something like that. And I'll just make a construct. Probably just end up making another construct. Another land is not great. And I'll get Shuko, put it on the construct. And now I will swing with Nomads because I have its 0 ability. Okay, swordsing a construct. That's great. I think you can only swords constructs if you have a force or a way to keep Nadu off the table. I'll move Shuko to the untapped construct and then pass the turn. Okay, they're saying go. I'll put the Shuko back on Nomads and then attack for 4. My opponent swords the Nomads, pretty good for them, so they'll take 2. I'll re-equip. And I only have 1 Force of Will in my deck, and because of that, I feel safe playing out the Narcomoeba. I want to keep the pressure on, and I'll continue to hold these lands. So my goal is just to try to get them as close to dead as possible before it's time to cast Nadu. Because, wow, what an exchange. All right, I think now that they've done that, I think I actually will. Oh, well, I clicked to my end step foolishly. But I was saying I might actually want to cast Nadu there because they were tapped out of. Ooh, Thunder Trap Trainer's pretty good. But specifically because they were tapped out of Red Blast. Reveal Ponder. Uh-huh. Yeah, so looking back at the end of my last turn, you have to be careful because Shuko has that activated ability, obviously. And then you have to be careful about clicking. Like I thought I was just clicking the last part of Shuko, but I was clicking, okay, this should be the game. So I was clicking out of my main phase instead. So you always have to be careful with your Shuko clicks. And I should be able to go to combat, but I won't because I could draw another Shuko, push more damage. So I'll play Savannah, cast Ya Boy, backed by Flusterstorm, pitching back to basics. So they were a back to basics deck. And this should be the game. All right. Nomads right away. All right, my opponent scoops it up. Yeah, there's no way they recover from this, and I bet I find removal for Tamiyo. And then just cooking. Awesome. GG. I'm on the play versus Lightwalker. This is actually, I played a league this morning. This is the second time I've played him today. So I did win earlier. Hopefully I can run it back. He's probably sick of seeing me. Welder. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to force a Welder. Just get Meticulous Archive. Another land, not really interested in that. Swords. Okay, that's good. I wonder if I just go Swords, Nomads. Be patient on the Brainstorm. The thing is, I do want to dig for the other combo piece with Brainstorm. And this would play around a Pyroblast. They could have Simian Spirit Guide, but I'll Brainstorm. Okay, Tamiyo. So I'll put back... I like most of these cards. I even like the Narcomoeba because I want to have Daze and Force of Will. But I don't think I can play Tamiyo this turn. I think I need to hold up the Swords in case there's an Engineer. Maybe I can tap out for Tamiyo and just hope that Daze and Force keep a Goblin Engineer off the board for one turn. Because it has to be both a Goblin Engineer and an Artifact. I don't think that's going to be the hardest to assemble. But yeah, it would be nice to turn the corner here. So I'm going to put Savannah and Strand back. I'm going to play Tundra and play Tamiyo. And hopefully my hand can hold the fort down. Robert does not like Nadu players. On the contrary, I like Painter players quite a bit. So let's see what happens here. LED, wow. Uh-oh, I could just be dead here. Crack LED, Painters in the yard. Pyroblast, my land? What? I think I just let that resolve, right? I sense I'm dead. Definitely sense I'm dead here. And actually not having the green source in play is going to contribute to that. Yeah, that's fine. I sense I'm just dead. Yeah. Oof. Turn 2'd. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Dang. Good game. Alright, so I like these white cards. I like Consign, and then I like all of these cards as well. And then I'm going to cut the Dazes, the Cephalids, one Saga, and one Tameo. I want to leave the Narcomoebas in and the Oracle and the Dread Return so I have maximum lines for if I do get decked. Well, that was a shame. I definitely could have played that differently and not lost there. It's very rare that Painter can turn to you, so I'm gonna have to pick up a couple games after sideboarding to try to make up for that. LED is a heck of a card. Keep. I'll fetch a basic island, play out the Ghost Vacuum. Actually, I'll play out the Shuko first. I don't need the Ghost Vacuum turn 1. And the reason I'm getting basics is it's definitely a moon deck. Alright, turn 1 Saga is pretty good. Nadu. I'll play Meticulous. Put Memories Journey. I'll leave that on top actually, because I think that's going to help me with the potential decking. Another Saga. Alright, well I'm going to jam Nadu because that will possibly keep him off a construct. So I'll get Trop. Yeah, that's good. I could end up getting it back with Ghost Vacuum. But that's going to keep multiple constructs off the battlefield, and that feels pretty good. Well, it'll keep one construct off the battlefield. Needle, probably naming Shuko, but could name Ghost Vacuum. Shuko, sure. Maybe missed making a construct there. So I'm going to hit my Nadu with the Ghost Vacuum. I'll play the Flooded Strand because I can Surveil. I doubt they have another Needle, but I can afford to play around it anyway. Force of Will, don't really want that at this stage of the game. Desk, sure. Pyroblast and Mountain. Okay. Welder, I have Welder in check. But I will take this opportunity to get that desk out of the graveyard. Ponder, cast it. Could get blasted. Sure. Play out my land. So I threaten the Ghost Vacuum Ultimate, though it wouldn't be great here. I think Robert's favored here. Another Welder. Sure. This could get blown out by Memory's Journey, but I'll just keep clipping the artifacts from his graveyard. If he wants to exchange it for the Needle, that's fine with me. Okay. I think that was the right decision. Well, I can hardcast that Force of Will. Guess that's where I am. Just getting in there. Yep. I think I have to save the swords for a Painter. Alright, well there's the land for the Ghost Vacuum. But no real point in doing that now just to get a 1/1 Nadu when Shuko is needled. I am going to go ahead and swords one of these because having 2 makes the Ghost Vacuum line worse, and I would rather be on a 15 turn clock than a 7 to 8 turn clock. Magus. I have to force this. Probably have Blast. Okay, cool. I wonder if I'm supposed to get the Magus of the Moon. I think I'm going to leave their Magus alone. I'll just get a Pyroblast or something like that. Archamoeba. It's ugly, but I'll play it out. Get this Welder off my back. And it's another body for like if I get a Nomads and then ultimate the Vacuum. Pedal. Plenty of lands. Uh-oh. What is this? Fury? That's good. So I'm dead in 2 turns. Cavern. Name Wizard. So I'll wait 1 more turn. Hope to top deck either the Nomads or the Prismatic Ending. But next turn I have to ultimate the vacuum. Don't think I'm going to come away with this one. And I will get the Magus. I can chump with Magus for a turn. Well, there's Nomads. So I think I play it out. And now if he doesn't have Bolt. Okay. Well, I still have something I can chump with. Unless there's another Fury. Yeah, that's pretty good. I suppose I could find a land and a swords. But could also just not kill the Magus. But then if you don't kill the Magus, I can chump. So, alright. Narcomoeba land? No. Alright, so I'm going to die here. Yeah, that's pretty good. Good game. Yeah, pity that game won. That's, I definitely did not expect the turn 2. That was really out of nowhere. And I definitely could have not died that game. And then this game just kind of stalled out, and then Fury took over. So, yeah, tough one. GG. On the draw in the third match, got a nice keeper here. Good turn 2. Just see what my opponent's up to. If the plan is the turn 2, I'll probably go basic Shuko. Opponent's fetching the Bloodstained Mire. And maybe getting Thoughtseize, Ponder, okay. Well, this could be one of many things. Underground Sea is definitely the most abundant land nowadays. Ponder. I think I'm still going to start with Shuko. Could live to regret it. But let's see what they do. Okay. Cameo. Well, I think I'm supposed to go Cephalid here. Because now I don't know if they're a Daze deck. I don't know. I could also Swords, Tameo, and Ponder. I guess I like that play. I'll Ponder. I think that's a shuffle. Nadu's nice. Basic Plains Swords, I think sounds good. And if they force to protect their Tameo, that's one less force they have for my combo pieces that I can slam in consecutive turns. Alright, pitching a Murktide. I'll probably start with Nadu. Let's see what they do. So they're flipping right away. That's another good reason to start with Nadu. Also, if they're holding a Bolt, like if this is Grixis Control, Nadu famously does not die to Bolt. But I'm guessing putting 3 must-force cards, must-answer cards on the stack on consecutive turns will be pretty strong after they forced my swords. Now, if they are able to answer Nadu and then pick up Force of Will, that's good. But I also like Nadu next turn because then I can Cephalid twice on the following turn, which should be really good. Alright, well, they're going to have some say over what happens here. Probably have to take Nadu, right? If they take a Cephalid, I'm definitely playing Nadu next turn, because then I think they probably have a Force. Alright, well, is it worth it to Ponder? If I find the Force, I'm very likely to win. But then that enables their Force of Will. Just play a Cephalid. I think this is just too likely to get there. Save targets. Always yield to Shuko. Now if they have Force, I am in trouble. Let's see. Alright, sweet. Alright, well I want maximum Tameo answers, so the white cards come in. I want another Cavern, Flusterstorm. Pretty similar board to what I do against like Delver decks. And just take out 3 forces and the Dazes. I think that game goes pretty differently for them if they do not force the swords. Because then they do that same brainstorm. They Thoughtseize away one creature, they Force a Will the next one, and then they're untapping into another turn where they can crack that clue. Seems like the Brainstorm wasn't great for them though. They didn't play land afterwards, so I guess they got Brainstorm locked. But maybe passing the turn meant they had Fatal Push Up or something like that. So definitely think that was a trap to force the swords. Okay. This hand kind of sucks, but I'm going to keep it. I don't like mulling against the Thoughtseize deck, and I have an answer for their most devastating turn 1, which they don't have. Of course, I'm speaking of Tamiyo. And I can Surveil. I don't know if I need to worry about basics, but it's something I want to keep in mind for sure. Brainstorm is nice. I'll play the Flooded Strand. And if they play a Tamiyo this turn, I probably will try to Swords with a basic Plains. Getting basic Plains, though, means next turn I'm not allowed to Brainstorm. So, let's just see. I like playing Flooded Strand because it offers the maximum flexibility. Okay, Lorien revealed. Alright. I'm going to go ahead and get Meticulous here. Sure, another Swords I think is fine. And before they can hold up Orcish Bowmasters, I'm going to Brainstorm. Probably just putting back lands. And I'll play out a Flooded Strand, and I'll get a basic, and I'll go ahead and Ponder. Yeah, that's good. I don't think I can afford to draw Narcomoeba. So I'll put the Tamiyo in hand and give them a really tough decision. If they do Thoughtseize me next turn, hopefully they tap out for a Baragoi or something like that. Alright, they're just passing. I'll probably play the Misty and cast Tamiyo. Played the Misty there because I want to get rid of that Narcomoeba. I get to Surveil. And it would have been nice to actually get a Pyroblast out of them if they had it. Okay, they have Bowmasters. I have Swords for that. I think it makes sense to just Swords now. Because the worst thing they could do is Kaito. I'll block. And if they have some blowout in combat with another Bowmaster, sure. I'll just try to Swords this thing. Get Savannah. And if we have a big fight over this, maybe my combo goes off next turn. But it looks like I'm going to get to keep the Tamiyo around. I guess if I had sequenced that differently, they wouldn't have a 1-1. So that's my bad. I didn't think about that properly. I'll go to combat. Okay, so one play that I really like is playing out Cavernous Souls after I cast a Nomads. But because I actually have 2 Nomads, I would love for them to force a Nomad. So I'm going to intentionally miss-sequence here. And then I'm going to cast Nomads, holding up uncounterable Nadu. Alright, that just worked. Well... Here's Cephalid. And I'll just pass. Oh, now I really wish I had Nadu there. If they attack with both of these, I probably go block, block, and then put the damage on Cephalid. I really would like to keep Kaito off the board. Kolagon's command making me discard. Yeah, I mean, this land isn't that good. Am I supposed to try to mill my deck in response? 41 cards. If I do that, so let's say I mill my deck, I would have, I could mill 39 cards, leaving 2 in my library, and if everything I needed to ended up in the graveyard next turn, I would have Dread Return plus Memory's Journey, and I could crack the clue to get there, like to draw the Thassa's Oracle. So yeah, I think I'm going for it here. With my opponent tapping out, I just really have to hope that everything lines up perfectly with the statistical likelihood of everything being in my graveyard with 2 cards left in my deck. So we already got the Dread Return, got the Narcomoebas. Just need to see Oracle and Journey in the next 21 cards. There's Journey. Oracle is actually the least important one to see, but there it is. And then this resolves. I'll discard Misty Rainforest. No blocks. Alright, so now they need multiple pieces of graveyard hate. And looks like one of the cards, no, never mind. Shuko. Alright, so I would like to sack these 3. I guess I'll push some damage. Now, if I was playing in like the most serious match of my life, I probably would look at my deck and figure out exactly what last card I have in my deck. So I'm being a little casual here. Alright, I'll attempt this Oracle. I'll leave the Tamiyo in play. Alright, just hit the board. Sweet. And a Brainstorm. Yep. Awesome. GG. So I guess they just didn't have it, and so I really did have the opportunity to go for it there. And it's very important in those situations to have a sense of how many cards are in your library, figure out what the remainder is after a bunch of three card mills, and then figure out if that lines up well. And thankfully all the cards ended up in the zone that I wanted them, so that worked out really nicely. I was prepared for some amount of interaction, though actually if I did have to Memories Journey there, that would cost me a land, and so I couldn't crack the clue right away and put Oracle on the stack. So I would have to have put a few cards in there. I probably could have afforded to put 3 cards and then like crack a clue on their turn and then crack another clue and then uncounterably cast Oracle. So definitely would have to think that all the way through to figure out what the ideal pile is. I don't think it would have been just Thassa's Oracle. All right, I'm on the play for the 4th match. Tragic hand. Wish Savannah was a blue source. But yeah, I'm in a maul. Okay, this is unexciting, but a keepable hand. I get to bottom Dread Return. And I'll start with the Meticulous Archive. I'll bottom the Force. I want to find my own action to try to win the game. And if they are some sort of combo deck, I'll regret it, but it also is an expression of confidence to bottom a Force. Another Underground Sea deck. And a Goif. Alright, I'm thankful I bottomed the Force. I like going Trop, Swords, Ponder. Those are fine cards. I'll draw the Brainstorm. Now if they Thoughtseize me, they choose between 2 cards that are quite similar, and they don't get to take the Swords. Wasteland's fine. Oof. Bowmaster. I'll probably try to Swords it, and then I will Brainstorm. I think I just have to be comfortable with my mana situation as it is. If I really want, I can redraw a land. They might be Brainstorm locked. Another Wasteland. Alright, I'll redraw a land. That's fine. No worries. Just play my basic. And I'm going to redraw the other land too, most likely. If they're Brainstorm locked and hitting me with a 1/1, I'm just going to make land drops. Another Wasteland. Well, now I don't really see the merit in drawing a Tundra. So I'll get my plains and pass Shuko. Alright, I'll play the Shuko out, hold up Brainstorm for if they do have a Bowmaster. They could force this, wouldn't mind that. I won't force back. Alright, that's fine. With no other combo piece in sight, I can't fight over that. And I get pecked for 1 again. And they didn't put in Bowmaster last turn on the end step, so I'm sort of assuming I'm safe. Murktide. I do think I have to force Murktide. Pitch the Brainstorm. It's worse right here with no shuffle effect. Ugh. Narcomoeba. I think this is gonna be okay. The Saga stinks. So I'll draw Shuko, cast it, And hopefully Tamio, like maybe they have another force here. I think they would have fought over the Murktide. Alright, Daze is fine. I think I'm very unfavored from this position, but it's fine. If they have removal for Tamio, it's going to be really bad. And they probably do. Just cast it. I could lead on the Narcomoeba, but they're not going to mess with the Narcomoeba. Yeah, Ponder really good. They didn't shuffle, which makes me think either they have something horrible of their own, or yeah, Tamio just not going to live. And I'll hold the Saga, and I'll play the Narcomoeba as a way to play around Kaito. I'll happily trade. If they have another Bowmaster, it's a bit of a blowout, but I just lose a Narcomoeba. Spellbomb, that's fine. Ponder is good. Cast it. Those cards are not good. I'll shuffle. Drew one of them anyway. And I'm going to hold the Saga because the Wasteland negates it. And if I draw like a Tundra, I would love to play the Tundra out or something, and then they deal with that. Alright, well with double Saga, I'll play a Saga out. And then next turn, my Saga should get to poppin'. They have another Surveil. And they Surveil Thoughtseize. Brainstorm is very good for them. Though in order to not get Brainstorm locked, they have to play on another land or, yeah, Ponder to shuffle. At this stage of the game, that doesn't feel too bad. And a Tamio. Another Wasteland, you're killing me. Daze. Terrible. Yeah, this is not gonna go my way, I don't think. They're making clues. Cracking it. Another land. Alright, well here's the Wasteland bait. Yalbin Nomads. Saga can get... it can't get Shuko. I might have to Memories Journey Shuko's back into my deck. This could be a good time for them to just Spellbomb to draw a card. It would also flip their Tamio if they do it this turn. Yeah. If they crack the Spellbomb, I will Journey the Shuko's back. Yeah, double Spellbomb, eh? You gonna Wasteland me? Alright, so I'll do the play I talked about. I'll target the two Shukos and a Ponder. And let's see if they just do it in response again. I think they should. Alright, they let it resolve. And they, of course, flip Tamio. And then they probably Wasteland me. Yep. Well, if I can thread the needle, if this Urza Saga can make multiple constructs, I can possibly keep them off of the ultimate. But anything that gets in the way of that will be pretty bad. So I feel like I'm hanging on by a complete thread here. Alright, they have another clue. They are flooding really, really bad, though. And they have a tough decision here about what to do with... Alright, they're getting Fatal Push. Okay. I think it's worth it to Brainstorm. Okay. Definitely going to put back Daze. And probably... I could play around Thoughtseize. I can't win against the Nile Spellbomb because my Memories Journey is gone now. No, I need to keep Nadu in hand because I want to make a construct, so... Alright, and I can't make a construct unless I shuffle. I'll just go ahead and do this now, so that a Wasteland doesn't keep me off a construct. I'll get Savannah, my only green source I can get off of that. Alright, so they plus... They're going to get to draw another card, be up to 5 cards. I probably should just make 2 constructs. Alright. Yep. Goodbye, Nadu. And now they'll be able to kill 1 construct. Possibly kill another one. Well, there's the ending. And thankfully I can get Shuko. So I'm going to attack the Tamio. And they're liable to push here. Yep. Really interesting decision on this ending. I think I'm going to hold it. And then next turn, Like, I think this game is getting out of hand. So next turn I just have to hope they have nothing. And then I'll hit the spell bomb. But they could also, like, they might be smart to just flip this Tameo after they get like a Thoughtseize off that one. That'd be pretty good. Okay, they have another push. That actually ruins that line. Alright. I'm gonna scoop here. They got me. Okay, so it's yet another Tameo match, which means I need maximum answers to Tameo. I want a Cavern and a Flusterstorm. Take out 3 Forces, take out 2 Dazes. Alright, on the play for next game. Ugh, 1 lander. Yeah, I'll keep. Just enough going on here. Probably need to ponder turn 1 though, rather than Tameo. Another land. Sure. I will be missing some land drops though, so hopefully I don't get wastelanded immediately. Cage. Yeah, that's good. Thankfully I have Tameo. Alright, I'm going to play out Tameo off of Tundra to slightly incentivize them to wasteland Trop if they're going to wasteland something. Next turn I draw Nadu and I can crack a clue as well if my Tameo gets to connect. But I won't get to crack the clue. Alright, sweet. They did go after Trop. And push. Alright, this could be ugly. Pass turn. Thoughtseize, sure. Probably take Nadu. If they have Surgical, they could take Swords. Yeah. Well, I need to draw lands quickly. Ugh. Alright. Probably gonna lose this one. Spellbomb is fine. It's redundant. Narc Amoeba. Alright, they're cycling the Spellbomb, so I think that's the right call. Yeah, that Ponder was rough because I wanted the land, but really I wanted more lands or a basic land. But I think my mana situation was so dire that I couldn't really afford to turn away a land, especially a blue source. And now I'm just desperate. I mean, I basically have a 3-card hand because the cage is stopping my combo. Another Spellbomb, sure. They'd be wise to just cycle that as well. Alright, another land. It's a nice safety. And another land is good as well, so I can start casting spells. They just have 3 cards. There's no way they're getting a threat through anytime soon. I'm going to play out an Illusionist, get something on board. They could Bowmaster it if they have that. And they do. Yeah. And I milled over some inconsequential cards. Brainstorm would have been nice because I can probably deal with the Bowmaster. If they have Kaito, I probably just scoop. And I'm not going to Swords Bowmaster because I need Surveil here. I need to find action. So if they got me, they got me. Yeah, I'm not going to waste y'all's time playing this one out because it's going to take multiple bits of removal. I guess before I scoop, I'll Surveil. If it's like Brainstorm, I'll play a turn. But I'm just so behind. Nadu. I guess that's good enough to not scoop on the spot. I'll keep. If they find a wasteland, I'm dead. If they can force Nadu or daze Nadu, I'm dead. I'd say it's looking quite bad. And even if Nadu resolves, pretty unlikely. Thoughtseize me is fine. I basically have a 0-card hand against their deck, against their board state, and that's totally fine. So they have 3 unknown cards, 2 unknown cards. Is it a daze or a force and a blue? Alright, well, Nadu's in there. If they have Fatal Push, I have to draw a force. If they have... And I think that's what they're doing here. Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's slightly good enough to keep going. So, Bowmaster, 3 unknown cards after this resolves. Surprised they put Force of Will into their graveyard. Seems like a great card in this situation. Paragoyf, well, I'll swords it. Nethergoyf, I'll swords that too. These lands just came way too late. Maybe I'm supposed to play out Cephalid, but I don't want to play it out when I know they have Bowmaster. Yeah. 2 cards on top. Tamiyo, another thing I can swords. I'll do that now. Presumably I have a white source I can get. I should have gotten Savannah. Oh well. And this was bad because they've already drawn a card. They just cracked the spell bomb. I should have waited for the ponder to resolve, yeah. Yeah, I think that's the icing on the cake of their win there. Good game. Next turn I was going to draw... it won't even show me. Alright, GG. Alright, I'm on the draw for the last round. This hand's totally fine. Probably start with a Plains and play Nomads turn 1. Maybe I just get Thoughtseized right away. Entombed right away. That was a nice draw. I'll play Tundra and pass. If I need to emergency brainstorm, I can do that. Maybe they just surveil. I think that's more likely. Oh boy. Yep. Alright, just brainstorming. Interesting. Let's see if they have a really good 2-drop. Maybe their 2-drops is Entomb Reanimate. 2 1-drops. Tamiyo, sure. And they might be flipping it right away. Sure. Alright. Interesting decision next turn about how to play it. How to play around days, for instance. Okay, well, having days helps. I think I'm just going to play the Plains and play Nomads. Really hope I don't have to use that days next turn. I can also brainstorm. They don't have anything too devastating in their graveyard. But if they have another black source, they could like Entomb, Reanimate, pick up whichever one of those I countered and do it again. Thoughts seizing themselves. I think I have to let them do that. Alright. Suppose I'll brainstorm in response. Okay. This could be worse. I'll put back Oracle. And I'll put back Nomads and redraw that. I'll try to force here. Maybe they get greedy and brainstorm. I'll pitch a Nadu. That's fine. Man, that's such a bummer. I guess I just discard days. I can just pick the Force of Will back up. Pick the Brainstorm back up. Alright, well next turn I think I have to just play a land and say go. And then I need to surveil and cast I need to surveil and cast Brainstorm. And then I need to find a land. And I need to discard, leave the land on top of my library, or one of these other 2 cards on top of my library, and then discard a useless card to brainstorm. So, yeah, have to just completely thread the needle here. Get a Hedge Maze, Force of Will in the graveyard, brainstorm in response. That's fine. I might just be dead to that. Cephalid would also be a really good thing to find. Is it worth it to Swords the Archon? I go to 2 off of everything on board. I have to tap out for this line. Man, what an interesting decision. I think I just need to high roll it. So I'm going to put Swords back, Savannah, Swords back, Savannah back. I'll discard swords. It doesn't matter if I put one of these on top because I can't get thought seized. They've just really had the nuts this game. And then I go to 2. I'll just F6. I lose to Daze, Force, Thoughtseize, Wasteland, and probably lose anyway, to be totally honest. Alright, show me what you got. Alright, whatever. You know, some of these Reanimator players have the audacity when they play against you to get salty about what you're playing. When you see all these metagame analyses and it's like half of like challenges every week are won by this deck. Get out of here with any sort of complaining. Now this person hasn't complained, so I want to be clear about that. But like, some people just have no no sense of self, what's the word I'm looking for? It's no self-awareness at all. There we go. So against this matchup, I do like cutting my combo and playing the control role. I think the 4 Tamios facilitates that nicely. And this is a nice hand here. I'll start with Trop and Tamio. Memory's Journey could be the graveyard hate that I need to not lose. Hopefully I don't lose my Tamio right away. I probably will get Saga going right away. And I mean, if they just have Entomb Reanimate with Force backup, I lose to that. But I want to get my Ghost Vacuum in as quickly as possible. Hopefully this is just a Surveil. Yeah. Got the Atraxa in. Great. Okay. Don't agree with the sequencing at all. They play land, fetch, and then cast Brainstorm. And they didn't have any knowledge of the top of their deck already. I'm probably still going to get completely bodied by this poor sequencing. They just have... Okay, so they don't have Reanimate. Alright, well they have one more turn to draw it if they don't have a Wasteland. They might push here. That's fine. Nadu. Okay. I think I'm going to play the island and say go. That gives me double Memory's Journey. Dothy, sure. And I'll get my Ghost Vacuum. I think I'm just going to make constructs here, and then I'll play another Saga and play Shuko. Don't really mind if the Shuko gets dazed. I just want to push damage. Cool. Don't need to worry about moving the Shuko because I can't block the Dothy, and they won't have any haste creatures or anything like that. Entomb is fine, though now I don't think they have Reanimate the way they've played, so the thought of them having 2 this turn seems unlikely. Petty Theft. Alright, well they're gonna get one of these. Ugh, man. I guess I'll let them have the Archon. Yeah, I just have to let them have Archon. I can afford to discard some cards here. Yeah. I'll discard... I'll sacrifice this creature. I'll just discard a land. Huh, what an obnoxious match this has been. Alright, I just have to play Nadu. There's no playing around anything at this point. Have to hope to find a swords. Okay. They can't push it. They could have like Dismember or something. Prismatic Ending. Not very good against Arcana Cruelty, notably. Very Macabre. Right on time to the party. Tamio, that'll keep the train going. Nomads, alright. I'm gonna play Nomads. Plains, they could have days, so let's see. What? You had Force, and you Force now? Okay. I mean, I'm gonna be a 1 life. I have to answer both these things. If they have Orcish Bowmasters, I'm just dead. I also have to answer the Borrower. I can block the Borrower, so... And I already have an answer to Dothy. I'll discard Memory's Journey. But annoyingly, yeah, I'm going to be a 1, so I can't fetch. So really, really going to have to thread the needle here if I even get a turn. I will say I think my opponent has played very well, so I'll give him that. Bitter Triumph, the Nadu. Okay, you got it. I'll brainstorm in response to the saga. Have to hit white source, plains, or white source and swords. Nadu. So I'll put away the fetch lands because I can't fetch. But I don't even have another blue source, so this is just the game. Good game. What an obnoxious match that was, and kind of annoying to finish with a 2-3 because of it. Yeah, Dimir Reanimator. I mean, it is by far the best deck in the format, and I feel very streaky against it. I do like the plan that I have, but you know, they got both their monsters into the graveyard because they surveilled the Atraxa, and I guess you know, this game I probably shouldn't think too much about it because they definitely not only played very well, I will say, but like drew remarkably well. And I mean, if I draw remarkably well, they're not going to beat me. And so, really, I think you have to think about, you know, kind of the median or average game that you play. And yeah, just got completely wrecked. I mean, I had the graveyard hate, but they had petty theft plus both things in the yard. And I didn't have an opportunity to remove one of them already because I had just gotten the vacuum into play. So, yeah, it is what it is. So, good games, a rough league, but, you know, it just goes to show how Magic goes. And I think that there weren't too many decision points that cost me games. I know there was that Painter game where I could have played things differently, but also that was incredibly an incredible high roll for them to be able to win on turn 2. So I'm not super proud of this league, but I don't also feel like I was punting left and right. And that's how it goes sometimes, you know. Um, you are subject to the game that has a lot of variance, and you know, I'll probably be running it back next league with something pretty similar and just hoping it goes better. Anyway, thanks for watching.